Last week's waiver wire was deep. This week's waiver wire is deep. And now we got a few more wide receivers added to the hopper. The Saints are dealing with a lot of injuries right now at wide receiver. Bub Means has entered the chat. He looked good. He got work with Spencer Rattler. That being said, that could continue for the foreseeable future. It could not, but we're going to dig into the advanced analytics. We're going to deep dive the situation. We're going to go back and look at what he did in college and everything else, so you can make the decision for your fantasy football team, whether you want or not to add him or pick him up or sell, whatever it is. But you're going to have the data by the end of this video. But before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now, because we're doing these deep dives every single day, going deep on these players. We'll do multiple a day, every day throughout the rest of the season, next year as well. On top of that, we're going to help you set those lineups with these videos, and on top of that, we're going to help you win the waiver wire, because we already have like 4 waiver wire videos out, and we'll have more. Click that button, stop missing out. Ric Flair's watching, do not disappoint him. But Chris Olave, concussion. Do not know when he's coming back. We know some of these concussions cause these players to be out longer than expected. They come back quicker than expected. Concussions are just those things where you just cannot anticipate how long, but we got to pay attention. Now we're looking at Rasheed Shaheed, dealing with a knee injury, could be out for some time. That is a huge deal. That is something to pay attention to. Bub Means is here. Had 8 targets, 5 catches for 45 yards and a touchdown last week. That could mean more workload for him. That could mean more opportunities for him. This could be his moment. That's something to pay attention to. He was not a highly sought after recruit coming out of high school, but he did receive 26 offers. And the recruiting sites kind of slept on that portion of his portfolio. He was a sneaky wide receiver in the high school recruiting ranks. Some Power 5 schools were after him, but a lot of G5 schools were after him while he was in high school. That being said, when you look at his metrics in college, his average depth of target is what stands out the most. 17.7 in 2023, 15.1 in 2022, 17.5 in 2021. We started off with Tennessee, then we go to Louisiana Tech. We finish off with Pitt. We look good with Pitt. Not tremendously productive, but still, we were able to get the job done. We were able to get drafted here, and we did have some moments where Bub Means was able to get it done, but that ADOT is what is very intriguing, because this fits well with the Saints. It's a vertical passing game. These wide receivers get downfield, and this is where the dots are starting to connect. Because when you look at his recruiting profile, the one thing they said about him was his size, his speed to get downfield, and his ability to track the ball. He is a sneaky player who fell in the draft, but we were able to get it done in some key moments here. 109 yards against Wake Forest, 98 against Florida State, against Mississippi State, 94 yards. So we had some moments here of success at the college level. Not grandiose. He's not Marvin Harrison Jr. or Malik Neighbors, but he has some ways where he can get the job done at the NFL level. That size adjust athleticism. 4.43 40-yard dash, good burst score. 6'1", 212, good size on him, a good frame, getting downfield, and an offense that matches his skill set. He was a 5th round pick, fell in the draft, but remember, this was a stacked wide receiver class. This wide receiver class was one of the most deep wide receiver classes of all time, from top to bottom, and we're going to have random rookie wide receivers start hitting in fantasy football, and then we're wondering what to do with them. They'll go away, they come back, all that stuff, because there's so many good wide receivers in this class. We had about 20 wide receivers in this class that had a day 2 grade or better. That being said, some wide receivers are going to slip through the cracks. Bub Means didn't have the best production profile coming out of college. However, we do have some innate traits that could allow him to provide some production at the NFL level. It may not be for a long time, but it might be for a good time. And we're looking at the routes ran in this offense here recently. Bub Means, 34 routes ran last week, 27 for Cedric Wilson. Tipton got a little bit, but Bub Means got the workload here with a 70.8% route participation rate, getting that opportunity there. 8.3 air yards. So that being said, there's potential they stretch it a little bit more with him. That could potentially happen. We're running a lot of routes. We're getting some opportunities. So one thing to note, if Chris Olave is out for another game and Shaheed's out for a bit, expect him to run more routes. Expect him to get more opportunities. Right here's the take. Expect him to get more routes and expect him to get more opportunities. That could lead to fantasy production. That could not lead to fantasy production. But the opportunities here, from what we're doing, connecting the dots here, should be there. There should be some potential. And then it's going to be game script dependent, Spencer Rattler dependent, Derek Carr dependent. Depending how long these injuries stretch out, Olave should be back sooner than later. That being said, means running a lot of routes could mean something for you. And we're looking at this depth chart. Cedric Wilson, a veteran who's been kicking around for a long time. Mason Tipton's there. With Rashid Shaheed out and Chris Olave, Bub Means has some upside in this offense. A young wide receiver with good burst and speed who's starting to produce on the field, has a connection with Spencer Rattler. 8 targets last week. Something to pay attention to. And the thing is, we got Spencer Rattler who's looking at these wide receivers, trying to figure things out on the fly, who was a high-end prospect coming out of high school, who was damaged goods at Oklahoma, but really rebuilt himself at South Carolina to the point he was able to get himself drafted. Still one of the top quarterbacks in the 2024 NFL draft class. Now when you look at last week, and you look at these wide receivers being banged up, and you look at him being up and down, a lot of fragility in that first start, kind of like he was a rookie in his first start. It was okay for a rookie, I guess. It wasn't the greatest. Not great for fantasy, really, unless you're in a 2 QB league and you're hurting at quarterback and you just have to. Spencer Rattler, though, pushing it downfield. He's a rookie quarterback that has some cojones and some gusto. May not be great snap to snap, throw to throw. That being said, we've seen him at the college level show the upside and show the downside. So that's something you need to pay attention to going forward. And he's spraying it all over the field. We're just not getting it done deep. And maybe that's something that's going to happen later on down the road. We also have our weapons out right now. That's going to impact things. This offense is going to be impacted. This offense is coming in with a limp. Think of that. But Bub Means could be a shining light for fantasy, though. Maybe he racks up some targets if the game script goes his way. High-scoring games, they're down, they're behind, and he starts soaking up some targets, and maybe that leads to fantasy production. That could happen, especially if Spencer Rattler's having a bad game, and they just let him roll with it. Maybe that happens. We got the Broncos this week. Oh, we got the Broncos this week. So if you're looking for Bub Means for this week, you're really treading the water lightly. You're really treading it lightly. It ain't looking good. It ain't looking good during these low-scoring game scripts. They got Bo Nix. They're allowing him just dink and dunk it. They're sucking down the clock with a lot of time in between plays. Their defense is good. They're bend but don't break. They're winning some games here that you didn't think they'd win. We said this in the offseason. We were talking about Bo Nix getting the starting job, that this Broncos team is going to be tough to deal with. They're going to really make you want to pull your hair out. And this could be a situation here. This is a situation where you're looking at a wide receiver who could be seeing some targets in this matchup, but you just can't trust. I wouldn't be dropping my stash running back for him. I wouldn't be doing that for this week. If I had a wide receiver that's getting a 20% target share that I feel good that's going to get 5 or more targets, that's in a better matchup than this, not seeing a rookie quarterback throwing him his targets, you never know what you're going to get out of that box of chocolates, I probably wouldn't make that move. So more than likely, you're not picking up Bub Means unless you want the volume of targets potentially over this week and next week. More than likely, you're not doing that unless you're that hurting at wide receiver. So more than likely, you're bottom of your league at wide receiver if you're making this move. More than likely, you're bottom of the league or you're really hurting on bye weeks and injuries. More than likely if you make this move. More than likely. Because the odds here is saying, hey, it's a bad matchup. Rookie on rookie violence at quarterback and wide receiver. That could lead to bad things. So he's going to be hard to start for you. He's going to be hard to put in those lineups. It's going to be hard for you. But you need targets and you don't care. You need targets. You don't care. Go ahead and pick him up. Go ahead and pick him up. See what happens. That could lead to something. I'm not going to say he's not going to produce. I'm going to say the odds are against it. The odds are for this week. But the targets are going to be there, and that could allow him to produce. That could happen. But we also have the fragility here with a rookie quarterback in Spencer Rattler. We also have a rookie wide receiver. We got some other things going on in the offense. Chris Olave could be back. He could be magically back this week. We don't know. Concussion protocol is different all the time. The thing about this, there's a lot of things in this equation that could go right, that could go wrong. They could be down so bad that they're just spamming targets to him. Maybe that happens. Because the Broncos got up on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Bo Nix can't get up on you if it's not working out. The thing is, Saints are pretty stout on defense. This could be a nasty game. It's also a Thursday game. I don't know if you want to do that, but if you got the balls to do that, right on, man. Right on, man. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. I want to hear about what you think about Bub Means. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.